I think you stand with Trump.
I'm not stupid.
I could tell the minute I saw you, your eyes lit up when you saw the Trump flags. As I told her, you know why you stand with Trump? Because beautiful people stand with Trump.
Yeah.
What were you going to say? So what was your answer? Why do you stand with Trump?
I stand with Trump because he's basically representing us, and everything that they're doing to him is what they can do to us. Yeah. And the system is broken, and, you know, he's fighting for us, you know? So I like his policies. I like how he says it like it is, and, you know, and Biden gotta go. I'm sick of him.
And what would you say to a black person that says that you're not black because you're voting for Trump?
Well, then I guess I identify as a white man. I don't know. I don't care what anybody has to say. I'm a mother. I care about the future of my child, and I care about policies over, you know, rhetoric.
Well said.
Hey, do you know how many times Joe Biden's fallen down on national TV?
I lost count.
Take a guess.
I would say, just to be, you know, on you said, yeah, just to be conservative. Yeah. I would say maybe about 10 times.
Ding, 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 ding! You want a free keychain? Donald Trump keychain.
There you go. Thank you for your words.
Trump 2024.
So he wants proof. Well, here you go. Look, make America great again, right? What does that say there, old man? Made in USA. Why is that so hard to like understand or believe? Like, you guys are really that fucking dumb to think that a hat can't be made in the USA? Get a fucking life, you fucking loser.
You know, it's funny that that's the argument, that a hat can't be made in the USA and blah, 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 blah. Because at the end of the day, you saw his hat, right? It had the green underneath the brim. That's the actual Trump hat made in the USA. Now, you got the ones like this with the red underneath the brim, because these are not the actual authentic Trump hat. These are the replicas made in China. Made in China. Replicas made in China. But my theory is, why spend the extra $20 to give the same message? Look, I'm Asian, guys. I grew up Asian. I grew up Filipino. That's just what. Am I mad about whatever tariffs? No, I'm not.
So where the fuck were all you social justice warriors when Biden was placing tariffs on all kinds of shit from China? Right here. May 14th, 2024, President Biden takes action to protect American workers and businesses from China's unfair trade practices. All of you cheered that on. You all cheered on Biden raising the tariff rate on electric vehicles from 25% to 100%. You cheered him on raising tariffs from 25% to 50%. You cheered him on putting a tariff on syringes and needles from 0% to 50%, and then a hike to 25% on other medical products. You cheered with joy when he upped the tariff from 7.5% to 25% on steel and aluminum. You guys are actually for tariffs. You're just not for it when Trump does it. So when Trump places tariffs, China's trade practices are fair and he's hurting American workers and businesses. But when Biden does it, their trade practices are unfair and he's helping American workers and businesses. You guys are fucking loony. I guess that's why your approval rating is in the fucking toilet.
And speaking of the devil,
Americans are noticing. The polls this week show Trump has the lowest 100-day approval rating since they started polling 80 years ago. The lowest. Yes.
There was a poll out today that has your approval rating lower than any other congressional leader at 17%. Are you concerned that you may be a liability for your party?
Polls come and go. Our party is united. We're on our front foot. We're stepping forward and going after Trump and having real success.
Am I like, oh, he's stuck it, blah, blah. I'm not diehard anything, bro. At the end of the day, if Trump was trying to do what every other president and every other politician, Democrat politicians have been trying to do, have been always talking about.
It's 1996 and Nancy Pelosi is raging that China is ripping us off and stealing 10 million jobs.
How far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit and loss of jobs for the American worker? And how much more dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo. But if we just want to take up this issue on the basis of economics alone, China should not receive most favored nation status for several reasons that I'd like to go into now. Right now, we have a $34 billion trade deficit with China. It will be over $40 billion for 1996. In terms of tariffs, I think it's interesting to note that the average U.S. MFN tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States is 2%, whereas the average Chinese MFN tariff on U.S. goods going into China is 35%. Is that reciprocal? On exports, China only allows certain industries into China, and therefore only 2% of U.S. exports are allowed into China. On the other hand, the U.S. allows China to flood our markets with a third of their exports, and that'll probably go over 40%. And it's limitless because we have not placed any restriction. In terms of jobs, this is the biggest and cruelest hoax of all. Not only do we not have market access, but China benefits with at least 10 million jobs. China trade supports 170,000 jobs in the United States, 170,000 jobs. Whereas our imports from China support 10 million jobs at least. Fact is that U.S.-China trade is a job loser.
I think it's because Trump did it, and so now you're mad. Because fair trade. 2 key words is fair trade. And that's what you guys are arguing about. Yeah, I'm going to get the fucking cheaper shit. I'm not all about spending an extra $20 for the authenticity of a hat that says the same message as his probably $40 hat. If I was in the Jordans, guess what? I'd go to swap meet. I saw some Jordans at the swap meet. Y'all are ridiculous.
As a black conservative woman, let me make something very, very clear here, okay? No white conservative person has ever said that they want me to hang. They've never called me a racial slur. They don't call me a monkey. They don't think that I need to be put in a field, okay? No one has ever said those words to me. You know who has said those words to me, though? Black liberals, white liberals, liberals in general, the accepting, tolerant, liberal left. They've all said those things to me. They always say they hate you, they think you're a monkey, they think blah, 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 you need to be in a tree, good luck being in Mass's house. That's what they say to me. No white conservative person has ever said those words to me because, lo and behold, color doesn't matter. They don't care about color, they don't care about what color I am, and they never will care about what color I am because I tell them the truth. If you guys actually opened up your minds, you would realize that the Conservative Party isn't racist. We're just not stupid.
You know who turned me on to Trump? A Peruvian immigrant that I used to work with at the Westin Mission Hills. She turned me on to Trump. I voted for Gary Johnson, the fucking governor of New Mexico, who was a libertarian. I loved everything he had to say. That's who I voted for. That was the first time. That was 2016. Maria. Her name is Maria. It's not a random ass name. Her name was Maria. And she turned me on to Trump. Fast forward to after Trump was elected. All I saw were liberals on Instagram or social media talking about how Trump is a racist. I'm like, when was Trump a racist?
Daily reminder, you get to define what masculinity and femininity are for yourself. Don't let society dictate your gender expression.
Here I am still being Democrat, still being, or kind of like independent, right? When was Trump a racist? In my mind, thinking back to way back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, Trump was always with Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton when he was fat. I've seen the pictures with Rosa Parks. He's always around Oprah Winfrey. And then, of course, all the rappers, Snoop Dogg, the entire Dog Pound.
How you been, where you been, and what it look like, my game Trump type.
Y'all talked about Trump all the time. But then he's a racist now. So I had to do the research and blah, blah. I look, and so I credit liberals. For putting me on Trump.
Looks like Mexico is learning how to be more and more like America. They're just doing it the hard way. They thought that they were going to get over on us. But what had happened was they invited China in to partner, build factories, hired thousands of Mexican workers, and thought that they were outsmarting Trump's tariffs. But once everything was up and running, China pulled the rug. They fired all those workers, brought in their own low-wage laborers, just like they always do. So now Mexico knows how it feels to have your jobs ripped away by people who aren't even from your country. All that effort, and instead of working with Trump to build a win-win deal that would benefit everyone, they let China in and got undercut, disrespected, and steamrolled in their own backyard. Shame, 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 Mexico. But you know what? It's not too late. You can still come back to daddy. He'll forgive you and he'll protect you, because this is what Trump does. He protects jobs, protects sovereignty, and he doesn't let China run the table. Make sure to follow and drop a comment if you love being on the right side of America right now.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Couple things I want to talk about. So number one, not all things are made in China. Not all things are made in China. A lot of things are made here in the United States. Number two, liberals, if you don't want to be called racist, stop being racist. I don't care if you're white, you're black, you're Asian, you're Hispanic, I don't care. Stop being racist. And yes, you can be non-white and still be racist. Right? When you say a certain kind of person, a certain race, a certain ethnicity should not be supporting Trump, and then you say that, well, we are voting against our own interests. Who are you to determine what our interests are? Clearly, your interests are touching children. Your interests are putting the LGBTQ plus above all. Which I have no problem with gays. I have no problem with lesbians. I have no problem with, I kind of have an issue with bisexual. Like, stop being greedy. I don't have a problem with trans. If you want to live your life as a woman or you want to live your life as a man, understand that you're still your biological assignment. Right? But at the end of the day, hey, have fun. I've known some old men out here in Palm Springs want to live their lives as women. They're old. A guy named Jerry, I think his name is Jerry. I worked at Public Storage in Palm Springs, Palm Desert, Rancho Mirage. Old man, I want to say, no, his name was Tom. And Tom, in the notes, says, would like to be referred to as Vicky. I have no problem with that. I have no problem referring to Tom as Vicky. Vicky never did nothing to me. I mean, Vicky never posed a problem to me, to society, to me. Like, I'm not understanding why I would disrespect Vicky by calling her Tom. He looked like a Tom. He looked like Tom with earrings and whatever else. But again, I have no problem referring to, if it's in the notes. I'm not gonna look at you. If I look at you and I see a dude, I see a man, I'm sorry, I don't see nothing else. I'm not gonna ask you your pronouns ahead of time. I'm not doing all that shit. What I want to tell you is, when I see you and you don't have it on your shirt or anything else, I'm a he or she or whatever, I'm gonna refer to you as whatever I refer to you as, and more than likely I'm gonna talk to you as, "Hi, how you doing today?" You know, I'm not gonna say, you know, her and she and sir and whatever. I'm not saying all that. I'm gonna just talk to you kind of like, what do you guys call it? Inclusive, talk. That's how I'm gonna be. Anyway, I'm digressing at this point. Being a frugal man, a proud frugal man, I saw the $40 hat with the green brim. This is when I went to the Trump rally here in Coachella. They were selling that authentic Trump hat. And then they said the reason why the red brim is a different color, those were made in China. Those are, $20 versus the 40. I knew I was going to buy one for myself, one for Luis. So I was like, I can buy two of the $20 ones for the price of one of the $4 ones. And it's going to say the same exact message. Make America great again. So, I'm not stupid. I'm buying the $20 ones. Because at the end of the day, if I had the $40 one, right? Let's say I went and bought those gold shoes that he was selling. Is Trump going to come to my house and have dinner with me? No. Is Trump going to know that I'm supporting him? No. Y'all who watch my videos, see my flag, and see some of my videos, clearly I'm a Trump supporter. But Trump won't know that I'm a Trump supporter. He won't know that shit, and he won't care. Honestly. When people say, "Oh, Trump doesn't care about you," I know. He cares about the nation as a whole, not just me specifically. The last thing I want to say is this. I don't refer to Trump as daddy. I only got one dad in my life. And he's no longer here. He's with me in spirit, I would hope. But Trump is not my daddy. So when they say, "Oh, come back, Trump's daddy," or what one girl say, "Mexico, come back to daddy," or whatever she said. No, Trump's not my dad. Trump's not daddy. I'm sorry. Any grown man that calls another man daddy and is not your dad.
Just relax for me. Relax and let daddy inside you.
I mean, that's gay. It's your boy King Churro. Thank you for watching. Remember that you're loved, and remember to be great every day, because tomorrow is never promised. Peace out, y'all.
Every day you wake up, you got a decision to make. To go right or left, up or down, right or wrong. At the end of the day, you make the decision. Nobody forces you. So make the right decision. Make moves, set the goals. Stop making excuses, man. And if it look like a duck, walk like a duck, and sound like a duck, it's a duck. stop guessing. Just do the right thing. You heard? You hear me? I love y'all. Stay positive. Love one another.
All right.
I'm gonna need for all of my dumbass family because to stop calling talk about some. Well, what do you think about what Trump doing now? You see what Trump doing now? Listen, I got what I wanted out of my vote the very first week that Trump was in office, okay? I wanted women to get their rights back and for them to stop letting transgenders play in women's sports. And I wanted them to take all of the LGBTQIA, B, C, D, E, F, G out of the schools and to stop forcing it on children and get them nasty ass books out of the kids' schools. I got what I wanted out of my vote. I wanted all of those illegal immigrants that was here hurting American women to get deported. I got what I wanted. Stop asking me. I'm good. I'm back to living my life like you don't do. Because every single 4 years, y'all dumbasses let the richest black people in entertainment stand up and tell you that you can't do it and that you being held down. When their very existence is showing you that that's